Welcome back to Cryptids and Cold Ones. I'm John.
And I'm Evan.
And I'm Kyle.
And today we are going to be talking about the missing 411 phenomena.
Dun, 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 dun.
Phenomena.
But first and foremost, housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Want me fluff pillow? Want me jack you? No, sorry.
Linktree is in the show notes. Buy our stuff.
Buy all the stuff.
If you want to. It would be appreciated.
I'm going to get a crop top shirt.
And so far, no one's donated to the GoFundMe that I started to recoup my time for watching these horrible movies that I watch for you guys. And I really don't know how many people actually listen to those episodes.
They actually have surprisingly good performance.
The
numbers.
metrics look good, but
Yeah.
are they really listening?
I think so. I am.
Oh, we have a couple shout outs to do.
Oh, really?
I forgot to give a shout out to my boy Craig for supplying us with the Bat Squatch last week.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, Craig.
I know I drank most of them before the episode, but it happens to the best of us. And we also got a comment from Phoenix V over on Spotify.
Oh.
Said, shout me out. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Phoenix.
It was on way back on the Loch Ness episode.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So,
I think that was our worst episode.
so she was digging deep, went back pretty far.
Thanks, Phoenix.
That left us that. So yeah, thank you. And with that, the important things.
So,
Yes.
I didn't grab my beer. I'm sorry. I was just trying to buy time.
You ready?
Let's do this.
Give me a hell yeah! What?
Ooh, I can smell it.
That smells tasty.
Oh, that goes down too smooth.
Damn, that is good.
This is Transient Artisan Ales from Bridgman, Michigan. And it is the Ruzzleberry Pie Wolverine.
Smolvering.
Sorry.
Raspberry pie, smolverine.
That's what that cute little
Do you want me to
is.
read the bottom or?
Yeah, if you want to.
You can read my
It's a
bottle.
sour.
Wow.
After
What?
the pod. It's a sour ale with raspberry puree, blueberry and blackberry juice, graham crackers, vanilla ice cream, vanilla extract, and lactose sugar.
I can taste all of that.
Oh, man, that is...
It's really smooth. I normally don't like the puree one, that they're, but I like that one a
That's
lot.
really good.
And it's not a typical sour. Like sours, I love them, but I can feel like in the back of my jaw when I drink them, and I don't feel that with this one. I think I'd give this one a 5, honestly.
I like it. I definitely can drink it, but I couldn't drink more than one. It's too sweet.
It's
yeah.
sweet and it's very filling. It's
Yeah.
it's not like a Guinness thick, but it's
Mhm.
rich.
Yeah.
It's very tasty.
I would drink one of these on a regular basis, but not more than one. I give it a 3.75.
What?
That's pretty low.
Wow, that's low for Evan.
If I can't drink more than one, though, it's not going to get it's not going to get at least.
Oh, okay. So you're looking for like
So you're definitely like my mead. You're gonna give like a 1 because I guarantee you won't be drinking.
I won't even finish it.
yeah. We won't be driving good after that one.
You guys want to do a taste test of it later?
Oof.
Ooh,
Just a little, just
just
a little.
snort,
Try it.
little snort.
Yeah, just a little snort.
I got to do my feet because
A
I was
dram, if
looking
you
at
will.
Evan's feet. Yeah. This is definitely 4.75, if not a 5 for me. I mean, that is tasty, and I'm not a drinker. This doesn't even taste like an alcoholic beverage, really.
No, it does not.
It tastes, yeah, it just tastes like something I'd give to my kids. Ow.
Children's beer.
Here, kids, this will make you sleepy.
Oh.
Hey everyone, John again. We know that you are all used to hearing the three of us crack jokes and not take things too seriously while we record these episodes. But one thing that the three of us do take seriously is mental health, and believe we should take this time to spread a positive message. That's why I'd like you guys to check out the Hey You Project. Founded in 2020, the Hey You Project set out to break the stigma of mental health and has since made contributions to organizations such as the National Alliance of Mental Illness, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and many more. Follow the link in our link tree and use the code JOHN29177 for 5% off your order. Back to the show. Well, you want to get into it?
Yeah.
I know
Let's do
you
this.
you put a lot into this one. So
I did. I read a lot of things.
if we have to, we'll split it into 2 episodes and
I don't know if it'll be that
make
much.
everyone wait.
So, as John said earlier, we're talking about the missing 411 phenomenon.
Phenomena.
Do, 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 do.
Phenomena.
Do, 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 do. Okay, sorry,
Do,
guys.
do, 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 do.
So,
You're welcome.
missing 411
Yes,
has
sir.
been
I snorted.
the subject of a number of books and documentaries created by David Paulides. I don't know. He's Greek.
Pilates.
Whoever's from Greece, chime in the comments. Let me know how to pronounce this dude's name.
Side note, the guy from Ancient Aliens from last episode, his name's Giorgio Tsoukalas. TS, whatever. So
Interesting.
aliens.
Interesting.
Interdasting. Proceed.
So we'll just call him David. Because I'm not going to try and pronounce that. Started investigating disappearances of people in the U.S. national parks and other wilderness areas in North America. David is a retired police officer who began looking into these cases after a National Park Service employee gave him a tip. Since he began investigating, this whole thing has basically seemed to turn into a giant conspiracy due to the level of stonewalling done by the National Park Service. But the real question is
AKA
why?
the government.
Stonewall?
Yes.
Like Jackson?
Oh, interesting.
Stonewall. And then you said tip earlier, and my intrusive thoughts, I was like, just the tip. Sorry. Had to get that out.
But the question is really why? Why are they stonewalling?
Because, go ahead.
We'll get into it
Yeah.
later. We'll discuss that in the future. So, if you guys had to guess, how many people do you think go missing in national parks each year?
4,872.
I would say a higher number just because of my past experience, but I'd say maybe half a dozen.
About 1,000 to 2,500 people.
Man, if we were on The Price is Right, we would have lost.
There,
I'd rather go
it's insane.
I'd rather go
Think
bird
about-
hunting with Dick Cheney than go in the woods. There.
Yeah, I know, right?
Jeez.
That's how many people are reported missing,
Wow.
really, yearly. So we're dealing with some pretty big data sets for what David is looking into. And David only investigates missing persons reports that fit specific profile points. Additionally, there are
Can I
several-
interrupt you for a second?
What?
Before I lose my train of thought?
Yeah.
I just wanted, there's another podcast that does, it's true crime.
Mhm.
And it's all about crimes that happen in national parks.
crimes.
It's Park Predators, it's called. It's really good. You should check it out.
That'd be
I
something
will.
to look into, yeah. I arrested a guy, his last name was Crimes.
Really?
I swear to God.
Ironic.
I swear to God.
When I was talking to Jimmy about his health earlier, he told me his doctor's name is Dr. Bader. And he goes, you know how I remember his name? And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. And he starts laughing. He goes, I'm such a child.
Shout out to Jimmy,
Yeah, Jimmy.
Pour
who
one for Jim.
randomly just appears in your life out of nowhere.
No, he hangs out at the 7-Eleven after work. So I always run into him at 7-Eleven.
You kids want me to buy you some beer for you?
He's like, you need some beer? How about some Slurpees? So
Yeah.
anyway, there's some things that David can disqualify a case from something he did investigate because he doesn't want anything that's, understandable. These are all unexplained disappearances. So he takes the data set, he cuts it
Whoa,
down
excuse me.
by basically just getting rid of any cases where there's obvious signs of animal predation, suicidal intent or mental health issues, intentional disappearances, foul play, or something as mundane as like drowning. So basically, he eliminates the explainable cases before starting to investigate. And well, I mean, you're talking about 1,000 to 2,500 cases a year. You got to like cut it down a little bit because one man cannot investigate that many cases in a year. It's just impossible. So the cases all share some common profile points. There's an odd point of separation or time of disappearance, boulder fields or water or granite nearby. A sudden weather event takes place shortly after the disappearance that hampers the search, and the person goes missing at one elevation and appears at a radically different elevation. And in many cases, the person who disappears is a child, has a disability, or some sort of illness. Canines can't pick up the scent, and the person is found in a place previously searched for. When they're found, they have missing clothing, an unknown cause of death, and there's also geographic clustering of these events that are taking place.
That's interesting about the canines because when I was a police officer, they had a lot of, I was in part of, with canine units searching for people, and I was like, how the hell can these dogs pick up the scent? And it's like anything that's like your skin's constantly falling off, like dry skin, like they can smell the most minute part of you and keep on that scent. So that's kind of strange because canines can't even pick up a scent. I mean, these things are like superhuman compared to us. So that's
because they're not humans.
Jackass.
Science. Electrolytes, power lights, more lights than your body has room.
That's Power Thirst on
Move
YouTube.
so fast, Mother Nature would be like, slow down. And you'll be like, fuck you, and kick her in the face with your energy legs.
Sorry, John's dad.
You'll be running as fast as Kenyans.
Power Thirst will make you have so many babies.
Another YouTube show.
400 babies.
Yeah. So that's another YouTube shout out we got to give. That's a Power Thirst video. It's
that was old college humor.
yeah, that's
like,
definitely worth a watch.
That's
circa 2006,
yeah,
man.
dating ourselves 20 years.
Don't forget to listen to Gilbert Gottfried.
College humor isn't even around anymore.
No, it's not.
So I guess to get back to what we were originally talking
Kenyans.
You guys got me on a tangent now.
Yep.
And it's my own episode.
Your tism rubbed off on us.
Oh, man.
Rubbed off. Anyways.
So I'm not really particularly certain on how many cases David Paulides has cataloged in total. I've Googled it a gazillion times.
Do you know how long he takes per case?
No clue.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to look into that as well, and I couldn't find details. But I did find some stats put together on the cases in David's books by a gentleman by the name of Gary Kohler. Shout out to Gary. So Gary did a statistical analysis of 1,127 of the cases in Paulides' first 7 books. Kohler was looking for patterns in the data. And here's some interesting stuff. The data shows that 75.7% of the victims were male and 24.3% of the victims were female. Taking into account that the general population spread is roughly close to 50-50 male to female, and you get that same amount of people visiting national parks, like a similar data spread.
Yeah.
It's uncommon. I guess you would think it would be closer to 50-50 rather than 75-25. So anyway, 23.8% of these people were found alive, 31.5% were found dead, and 44.5% were never found. So that's really bad numbers for search and rescue.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then we look at the profile points and look at the stats for that. It was noted that, so as you talked about the tracking dogs thing earlier, 81% of the cases, tracking dogs failed to find a scent on any of these.
Aliens.
Aliens.
Yeah, that was my first thought.
Portals are aliens.
And then 25.2% of the victims were found near water.
Hmm.
Of those, 16.4% were found in a place previously searched. So, yeah, I know. Bad weather adversely impacted 33.8% of the search and rescue missions. And 19.5% of the cases involve missing clothing, particularly shoes. So that's odd. I mean, if you're...
They just really wanted them Jordans.
No, okay. So if you're rambling around through the woods
Right.
and you're lost, are you going to take off your shoes?
That's the least I would take. I would not take off my shoes.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
We're not cavemen.
There's a lot of stuff that doesn't make sense in these.
That,
Basically,
yeah.
is what I'm getting at. And it's a big data set. I mean, like,
Yeah.
even if you're just talking what Gary Kohler cataloged from the 1,127 cases, that's wild.
Those are
So-
good numbers though to have.
I know.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I know. When I found a statistical analysis of it, like my inner nerd was like, "Hell's yeah!"
Well, it's like, if it was, he looked at 30 different cases, then like you'd be able to explain it all away. But the thousands,
Yeah, and
That's
this is only what
insane.
he's cataloged in his first 7 books.
yeah,
And that's not including the cases that he didn't put in the books for whatever reason. So I guess let's talk a little bit about some of these disappearances. The first one I'm going to talk about is about a gentleman by the name of Chris Tompkins. He was 22 at the time of his disappearance, and he disappeared on January 25th, 2002. Thompson was working as part of a survey crew in a wooded area near County Line Road off of Warm Springs Road in Harris County, Georgia. He was accompanied by 3 coworkers, all of whom were working approximately 50 feet apart. One of his coworkers looked away for a moment, and by the time he looked back, Chris had disappeared. Thompson left his work tools behind, and he has never been heard from again. Volunteers searched the area shortly after his disappearance. One of his boots was found. A piece of blue fiber, which was reportedly from his pants, was found stuck on a nearby barbed wire fence. And his other boot was found in a totally different location 6 months later. There has been no other evidence found to indicate his whereabouts. Now, here's where it gets into a little bit of the offshoot stuff, because I feel like I need to add this in. Tompkins' boss told investigators he'd been acting strangely in the days prior to his disappearance, but his mother, who he lived with, said his behavior was normal. The case remains unsolved to this day. And I just think it's weird. This dude's just like there 1 second and then just completely gone.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, here's his boot 15 feet away. How's he moving so fast that they can't find him?
I've never ran out of my shoes before.
That's
The only thing
Like,
I mean, like a normal explanation would be like some random bear attack, but I don't even know if Georgia has.
they do have bears.
They do, yeah,
But there was no signs of animal predation. That was
yeah,
already,
that
Yeah,
would
you
have
talked
been,
about
he wouldn't
that.
have looked into it if there was.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
yeah, he's just gone.
What if it was a thunderbird?
I mean, yeah, that's
Or a
something-
phoenix.
Oh.
Shout
Shout
out.
Shout out Phoenix.
So that one I just thought was extremely odd in that
Is
you're
there
talking-
stories about large birds in Georgia?
I don't know. We'll have to look into that. And that's something I want to consider later. So next instance. This one is an older one. Date of disappearance, 4/10/1952. Keith Parkins, age 2. Keith was playing outside with his older brothers on the family farm in Oregon near a barn when he suddenly vanished. A search began when Keith's mother realized he hadn't returned for lunch with his brothers. The conditions were cold, and over 200 people were involved in combing the area in hopes of finding the boy. They searched all night in the area surrounding the farm. At 7 a.m. the next morning, searchers found footprints 3 miles away. Then, a searcher found Keith 12 miles away, laying face down in the snow, without shoes, and his hat and coat beside him in the snow. Keith was alive, but suffering from exposure. His face was covered in scratches and his clothing torn. However, the child made a full recovery.
Oh.
So the $1 million question is, how does a 2-year-old travel 12 miles in freezing temperatures overnight through treacherous terrain without shoes, food, water, or clothing? Without some
And then
help.
he had his jacket off.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Where were the scratches from?
Yeah. So obviously, in this case, someone or something had to have helped him. And here's the kicker. I don't know if you guys know who Les Stroud is. He's a survivalist.
Yeah.
Mhm. Oh, yeah.
He's in pretty good shape, right? He can traverse terrain, I guess is what we're getting at. Better than the average bear. He attempted to make the same journey as Keith over the same terrain in the same time frame he was missing, 19 hours, and he was unable to get that far.
What? And how old was this kid, too?
He was 2.
What the?
That's what I'm saying. Like,
And he just learned how to walk.
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Man, that kid was harder than Korean amputee porn.
Oh, Jesus.
Like,
Sorry, John's dad.
but I didn't say the F word.
Oh,
Yeah,
I still have yet to drop that.
he's got you there. He's waiting. He's making his F words.
You're
count.
welcome, John's dad. Thanks
So-
for the note.
Yeah. So next one. This one's also an older one. Date of disappearance was June 14th, 1969.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had
It was the summer of '69.
Yeah.
Had to make
Evan
sure.
sings.
We had to make sure that happened.
So the location was Smoky Mountain National Park. And the individual's name was Dennis Martin, age 6.
Oh.
So 6-year-old Dennis was on a Father's Day weekend hiking trip with his father, grandpa, and older brother. It was Dennis's first camping trip, and foreshadowing, guys, it was also his last. Oh, that was dark.
Yeah. That's we're laughing at dead kids. Jesus. Oh, sorry, John.
Yeah. So I can't believe
That was a good one, Evan.
so
You wrote that and you were like, "That's gonna kill."
Yeah, I'm glad you did, Evan. That was a good one.
So the family started their hike in Cades Cove, hiking to Russell Field, where they camped overnight. The next morning, they made the trek to Spencefield, where they planned to camp for the night. Spencefield is exactly what you would expect it to be. It's a field in the Smoky Mountains that has the occasional patch of shrubbery.
That's pretty much what Cade's Cove
But where's
is too.
Spence?
Yeah. And Dennis and his brother and some other children were playing a game hiding in the shrubbery. Reports differ about who the other children were. Some say they were friends of the family that they were camping with. Others say they were other children they met while camping. I'm not really certain why I mentioned that, but it's a discrepancy in the different reports of this that I've
Oh,
read.
okay.
So I figured, full disclosure, I'd say that. Anyway, so they're playing hide and seek or whatever, and Dad and Grandpa are presumably dropping F-bombs at each other while setting up camp. It's about 4:30 p.m., and Dad calls the boys back, and only Dennis's unnamed brother returns. Dennis's dad is like, I just saw that little rascal disappear behind a bush 5 minutes ago. Where is he at? After a short time, Dennis's dad got worried and began searching for him. He ended up running roughly 2 miles down the trail and found no trace of the boy. After 2 hours, they contacted the National Park Service for assistance. Honestly, I would probably contact them a little bit sooner if my kid was lost. But still, whatever.
No cell phones back then.
Yeah, it was 1969.
69.
It was the summer of 69. The National Park Service brought in about 1,400 people for the search. And to date, it's the largest search party assembled in park history. Shortly after Dennis disappeared, it dumped about 3 inches of rain in just a few hours. So that obviously would screw up footprints.
Right.
And then that was followed by a foggy mist that lasted another several days, which added to the difficulty in tracking or visibly seeing the child from any sort of distance. It was later reported that a number of people attempting to find the child may have potentially obscured possible clues. And on several occasions, small footprints were found, but dismissed by searchers as being those of Boy Scouts assisting in the search effort. The search continued to some degree for the next 3 months, but no clues were ever found. Now, I've read a little bit more, and at some point years later, there was somebody who was like illegally hunting ginseng up there.
Oh, yeah.
And they stumbled across some smaller bones. And they didn't say anything to anybody because they were illegally hunting ginseng, and then disclosed this to authorities in 1985.
Oh.
They went out to look, obviously, and they didn't find anything. But perhaps that was Dennis, but there's no real details.
Why is it illegal for ginseng?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Ginkgo biloba.
Ginkgo.
Sorry,
No, I really don't.
My brain got stuck on that. And the fact that you called it hunting.
What?
You said hunting for ginseng.
Well,
I just imagined like...
It's like, we're going to get that ginseng.
That's exactly what I pictured in my head.
Yeah, that's fair. So the next one is a little bit more recent. Date of disappearance, March 14th, 2014. Dr. James McGrogan, age 39. Location, Vail, Colorado. James went on a split snowboarding trip with friends. And you might be asking, what is split snowboarding?
I was going to ask you that.
I certainly asked that same question, so I Googled it. I'm told it's a lot like cross-country skiing or hiking in snowshoes, which seems pretty lame, James.
I have snowshoes.
Well, I do too, but I mean, like,
I've never used them.
Why would you call it split? Just go snowshoeing. Don't add us.
You ain't got to French it up, dirt.
Exactly. Again, if you're French, you're listening, stop. Go away. I actively do not want French listeners.
Goodness. Just in case you were wondering, Thunderbirds were in Georgia at one point in time.
Interesting.
And that'll most likely be a episode for later.
Yes.
And
so James went on his trip with a cell phone and a GPS unit. He happened to be a lot faster than his friends. It's like, okay, we get it, Dr. Douchebag. Okay, you're a little fast. So he took off, and he let him know, I'll just wait for you up the trail a little bit at the next stop. James' friends lost sight of him and never saw him at any of the spots or stops along the way to their destination. When a search team was contacted, they went out and they found no instances where tracks veered off the trail into the snow. And they had no clue where he could possibly have gone. 5 days later, James's body was found 4.5 miles away as the crow flies, or a 14-mile hike when considering elevation changes, as he would have had to climb up and down several mountain ridges to get to his location. James was found at the bottom of a frozen waterfall in an area that the search party had previously checked multiple times. James was, quote, mangled in a strange position. His skull was crushed as if he'd fallen from the sky. He was still wearing his full ski outfit and helmet, and there were no boots on his feet or gloves on his hands. The search and rescue team located his split snowboard, but never found his boots. James was found with his backpack. Inside was his cell phone and GPS and backup battery, both of which were functional, and his cell phone had service at the location he was found. So
I have an intrusive thought.
go.
So your previous, the 6-year-old that was found face down, and
Yeah.
then this guy who was found like mangled on the ground, like he possibly could have fallen from a height.
Yeah.
I just think these aliens I just think it's off the cuff. I think it's aliens that are drunk and they just like, we'll drop them right here. And that's what came into my mind. It's like, these are not like the sexy aliens you hear about on TV that, they're like, and they drop you down.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It's just
hit the eject button. And these guys are like, smash.
I mean, perhaps. So I want to talk about
drop
some.
Humvees out of a Huey. Oh, we forgot to give that one a parachute.
Yeah.
We done effed up. Sorry, James. So let's talk about some possible causes here. I want to, straight up say maybe someone missed some signs of foul play. Example being the murder was just really good at hiding evidence. But as previously noted, they try to screen out for this. Additionally, in a lot of these instances, they don't find a body despite extensive searching. This seems to be the most obvious, but at least likely to me, given the criteria, because they're screening out for foul play. So we have animal predation, which they screen out of,
Right.
right? Known animal predation, I guess. But the question is, these people are found in weird places, right?
Weird
So,
positions
weird
too.
positions, weird places, without clothing, whatever. I mean, there's this weird thing that happens when you have hypothermia that you start stripping off clothing.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That's
true.
possible. I guess maybe in the case for young Keith there.
But he made a supposed 12-mile journey.
Yes.
I mean, so he had to be kind of warm if he's making that kind of a trek.
I'm trying
He's
to think.
beating feet.
Is
Yeah.
that,
Little Keith.
I've seen pictures. I think it's the same one. Like his facial features look completely different after they found him
Really?
to when I think that's the same one.
Maybe they just found another kid. I don't know.
These are crazy.
So those were the only cases that I picked out because I thought they were the most interesting. But as John said, okay, so we're talking something dropping you from the sky. How big's a Thunderbird? Guess.
Big. It was Riker Webb is what I was talking about.
Okay.
Oh, I remember seeing that
Yeah.
somewhere.
There's was that the one?
He went missing in June of 2022,
Mhm.
and he was on Friday, and was found on Sunday, 2 miles from his house. And this is in Montana.
Mhm.
He was 3 years old.
He was redheaded. That's important
Yeah.
because they have no soul.
Yeah.
The Gingers. No, there's another incident. I think it was in North Carolina in the Smokies as well. Kid went missing for several days. It was like freezing cold temperatures at night, and he said that the hairy man kept him warm.
I remember that one. Yeah.
That made the news too.
Really?
Yeah. There's no way that kid would have survived on his own.
Yeah.
I want to say he was 3 or 4 at the time. And then there's multiple cases, which I didn't add in here, where people have some sort of disability, whether it be mental or physical.
Curious as to what that was about, because you said that in the beginning.
Yeah. Like where you'd think like it's some sort of predation then, right?
Right.
But predation we don't know about because, wolves take the
weakest. Yeah.
right? And that's typically speaking what happens with most predators.
Yeah, most of the animal kingdom does that. They get the slowest
Yeah,
water buffalo in the pack or whatever. Yeah.
exactly.
So
So
I don't have to be fast. I just got to be faster than you.
exactly. That's kind of the point on that. But that's why I always used to tell my buddy Jeff when we'd go hiking, I was like, if I see a bear, I'm just going to shoot you in the knee. So I guess my take is I have this vibe that it's some sort of predation, but from something we don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, asshole aliens that drop you out of the sky.
I think it's drunken aliens that are just like really bad at their jobs. And they're just like eject, and that's. But go ahead.
There's the alien thing. There's possibly Bigfoot snatching up people. There's that option, which I believe somebody said there was like a hairy man that was seen several hours before in the area where I believe it was Keith was lost. Or no, not Keith. It was Dennis in the Smokies. And then there's always the option of feral humans in the Smoky Mountains or other places in general, just abducting these children.
Wild honkies?
Yeah. Wild honkies on contacted tribes of feral humans.
Super honkies.
Super honkies. Or, as you said, a lot of these instances, these people have like, what is it called? Where you have trauma, injuries, like blunt force trauma, like they were dropped. So the aliens thing, but there's also Thunderbird, right?
Oh,
20 feet.
20 feet.
Their wingspan was
Oh my
said to be
God.
20 feet.
So hypothetically, a 20-foot bird could potentially pick up a 60-pound human.
Yeah,
no
easily.
problem. So, I mean, you have instances where eagles pick up chihuahuas all the time.
They can pick up to about and fly away with about 30 pounds. My wife just told me that today.
Yeah. Well, you got to watch out for your dog.
Yeah, I know.
Poor little boy. But so if you have a 20-foot wingspan bird, I don't think it would have any problem picking up any
no,
of these
absolutely not.
I was just reading it said that their primary food was killer whales.
What?
What?
Yeah.
So is there a fossil record of Thunderbirds?
I-
Because I kind of looked into that a little bit because I wanted to do an episode on it. And I was hoping there was a fossil record and I couldn't find anything. So, I mean,
yeah, we'll have to get into that later. That should be,
yeah, that's
if
definitely,
not our next episode or one of the coming up.
I know I wanted to
Yes.
do it too, so I think we should.
Yeah, I think that's in the books for episode in the future here.
For shizzle.
But I mean, also there's the idea that maybe these people stepped into a portal at some point.
A portal?
Portal.
Hmm.
Not to be confused with
Well, wasn't there one with the tracks that they picked up like 3 miles away
yeah.
of this kid?
Yeah,
So
just
it's-
randomly like portal. And they went somewhere and then the ones that they don't find just disappear into the portal, but the other ones pop out of the portal and fall a distance or whatever. Like the portal's in the air. I don't know.
It'd be like that game Portal where like You shoot the portal gun.
Oh, I think it's like Rick and Morty.
Yeah, and you can
They're
just
like dropping them off.
just move into different places. So like they step into a portal, but the exit to the portal is just in the air.
That's what I'm saying. Like something like that. I mean, you don't know what's causing the portal, if it's natural forces or whatever. There's no guarantee that this portal that you actually get into is going to pop out on the ground.
Right.
I mean,
That's how Bigfoot gets around.
exactly, portals.
That would, I would buy the Bigfoot thing with the portals, but we'll get into that.
That's going to be a great episode
Yes.
when we talk about the whole woo shit with Bigfoot.
Woo, Ric Flair.
So yeah, no, I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I kind of threw out a lot of ideas here.
I like when you guys started talking about the Thunderbird, but I think my intrusive thought was kind of, aliens that are really bad at their job and they're just like eject, thump. But
maybe they're not bad at their job. They just get enjoyment out of it.
They're like, just like, we're going to kill this dude.
This kid.
He was not good at the probing.
He didn't scream the way we wanted him to.
Yep. I don't know.
Yeah, those are, jeez. And that was it Les Stroud?
Yeah, Les Stroud.
He couldn't do that with a 2-year-old kid?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
okay.
there's something to this one for certain.
Yeah.
But what it is, like, I mean, David Paulides doesn't even say in his books. I mean, he hints at aliens, he hints at Bigfoot, but he never really jumps out and says what he thinks it is. So I'm going to call out David on that one and say, give me answers. I want your take because you know more about this than me. I've just piggybacked off your research.
I think aliens.
It's aliens.
And they're just assholes.
Okay, fair enough. So
that's a good episode. That's really cool. I think you could probably do a couple more off of all these missing.
yeah.
I mean, God, there's
Cases.
You probably had a lot to go through.
I went through many cases. There's this one that I thought was interesting. I initially started to include it and then I dumped it because the dude's alive and he's came out with a totally different story. His name's Steve Kubecki. And he was I believe was it UMass or U of M student? It was one of the two. But he went hiking, specifically snowshoeing on Lake Michigan in the winter. Lake Michigan Triangle.
Oh.
But it's not what you think. So anyway, so he goes hiking. They don't find any footprints away from the water. Like he just disappeared.
Yeah.
Like out of thin air. Right. And then a year and a half later, he knocks on his parents' door and he's like, "Hey, it's me, Steve. I'm back." And they're like, "Where were you?" And he's like, "I woke up in a field. I don't know what happened."
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
So anyway, this dude goes on to live out his entire life. He becomes a PhD in something. And he's a professor at, I forget what university, but I saw he has a website now where he's writing a book basically explaining where he was during that time. And it has something to do with the French Foreign Legion.
Okay. So what the hell?
So I think,
did they just pick him up off the lake?
I don't know. Maybe he like left there. I mean,
you're coming with us.
Yeah. Stupid French. Anyway.
Yeah, don't listen, French.
Yeah. If you're listening right now and you're French, go away.
I don't talk like you talk. Can you talk like I talk? Blah, 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 blah,
Croissant,
blah,
croissant.
blah, blah,
Croissant.
blah, French.
France. You know what? It's kind of like you just need to say France, like they say like ranch dressing. It's like France. It's like, what do you want on your salad? I was like, France dressing. I don't know. But no, So hypothetically, this dude disappeared for a year and a half. Either was A, doing a whole bunch of LSD because it was the 60s,
Oh,
or B, disappeared, joined the French Foreign Legion, and then went AWOL and was like, I'm just going to go back to my normal life. I don't know. But he
that's a
didn't
weird
talk
one
about,
too.
But like he didn't talk about it until just recently.
What the? Yeah.
Like
You said he's doing a book right now?
he's doing a book right now on it.
Oh, I
So I
wonder when
didn't
it's going to come.
include it, but I thought it was really interesting.
That's
until
weird in itself too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
just disappear.
We'll
and
have
then-
to look into that more too, just for my own
Yeah.
sake. I want to know.
He says that, I mean, obviously he's trying to sell a book, but he said that the story is actually more interesting than anything you could have imagined. Now, mind you, he's probably trying to sell a book, and
True.
I'll freaking buy it still. I
Yeah.
want to know what happened.
Right.
I want the end of the story. So, but yeah. So, I mean, that's a great case that, oh, and there's this one with this kid who was about, I think he was 4 years old. He was hiking with his grandma, and his grandma turned away, and then he was gone, and she couldn't find him. And I want to say 2 days later, he was found, dropped off at a trail point, and that had been searched a gazillion times already before. Right? So found in a location that had already been searched, completely unharmed. I think he had a spider web on his forehead. That's it. He told his grandma later that she's nicer than his other grandma, and then proceeded to say he was in a cave with like a robot grandma
What the?
who was doing weird stuff to him. And there, all of a sudden, there was this bright light, and he was told that he's not like other humans, and then brought back to the trailhead.
What the heck?
That.
Yeah. But I didn't add that one because it was just a little too far off for
Yeah,
me.
that one's pretty far out.
Yeah.
I was trying to stay with objective facts
Yeah.
that were interesting. So
It
yeah.
doesn't hurt to get far off. I mean, we're talking about cryptids and
Well, yeah, but I
paranormal,
mean,
but-
like robot grandma is
Yeah.
kinda-
You
Robot.
are not like my other grandkid.
Have
Yeah.
a Werther's original.
Hey everyone, it's John. I just wanted to take a second to talk about our friends over at Deemed Fit. Deemed Fit was founded by two first responders, and they focus on fitness and mental health, all through donating to causes like Tunnel of Towers, Beyond the Badge, P.S. I Love You, and more. Join us as we help them along by following the link in our link tree and using code CRYPTIDS15 for 15% off your order. Now back to the show.
yeah.
Oh man, robot
So-
grandma.
Those are some that really stick out that I didn't add, but we could definitely do another Missing 411 part 2 at some time in the future.
Artwork idea for the podcast. This episode is robot grandma.
That, dude, you're reading my mind.
Yeah,
I like it. So
that was man. That's interesting. I like even on my own. I want to go look into that more.
Yeah.
So
and I mean, like, I don't want to like give too much credit to David Paulides because his movies aren't that great. I mean, The Haunted's pretty interesting. I don't know if you saw that one existed or not. I know
No.
you watched the one. It's all about missing hunters.
really,
Yeah. There's this one with this old dude who they're like, sit on this rock. We're going to flush deer to you.
oh
and then
yeah.
he just disappeared. It was in Maine, I think.
Now the hunters they didn't go missing. They just found it out from getting away from their wives.
Exactly. Ooh,
Some of us actually enjoy spending time with their wives.
yeah.
I didn't say you guys didn't.
Oh
Oh,
no. But
fair enough.
yeah.
So
Sorry, my joke wasn't funny.
that fell flat, John.
Ah, ha, ha. That was awesome.
So, yeah, that's all I got. Unless you guys,
You got what you had was good. I like that.
Yeah, no, it definitely piques my interest into it.
It made me moist.
moist to let.
Well, with that being said,
Yeah, sorry about that.
don't forget, it's never too late to go missing and become the cryptid that you always wanted to be.
His last camping trip, Evan.
Good night, guys.
Good night.